If your trailer came equipped with a jockey wheel jack similar to this unit here where you have the pin you can quickly pull out and rotate at 90 degrees, well, chances are your experience with it is it performs more like an anchor than it does a jockey wheel jack. Between the pin and all the leverage of all the fixtures and everything, it just makes it cumbersome to move even on concrete and pretty much impossible once you get on soft ground. Well, if that sounds like your experience, whether you're a utility trailer, boat trailer, or an off-road trailer like this Smitty built here, well, I have a jockey wheel jack solution that might fix you up, tighten things up, make it really easy to move around. Stay tuned. Hey, welcome back to the Gator Overland channel. I'm John, and today's video is going to be another addition to our Gator Overland Tech or Go Tech series, where I give you all the information you need, nothing you don't. That way you can spend less time listening to me, more time installing whatever it is, getting yourself back on the road or back on the trail for that matter. Now in today's video, as mentioned, we're going to be upgrading our wobbly tongue jockey wheel jack up here on the front and upgrading to the ARK XO or Extreme Off-Road 500 jockey wheel jack for the front. As you can see, this thing is brute. It's made of square tubing. It's already got the bracket affixed to the back side, and all the other fixtures and components are just single hole, so we don't have to worry about all the leverage coming from all the other components involved with this thing, and it's going to really tighten things up. Now as you can see, it is a tandem wheel setup that's going to displace all that weight over a bigger area and be easier initially to get things started. Now on top of that, we actually have sealed ball bearings that make this thing roll. It's a really easy assembly. This whole thing comes put together. The only thing you have to do is put the wheels on the shaft. Now as far as attaching, they do come with a set of C-channel for universal if you have an exposed frame, whether it be another boxed or C-channel, and the bolts to go through the universal holes on the mounting bracket and suck it all up. Now in our situation with the Smitty built trailer, it comes with a welded bracket on there, so we're going to remove the original stuff and then put it up there, figure out which one of those holes lines up the best. Hopefully some of them, if not all of them, do, but if not, it's nothing that we can't just chase a drill bit after and make a new hole for it. If I end up having any fasteners or anything that need to be explained on that, I'll get onto that. Now this thing is designed out of square tubing. It comes with the black oxide paint. They do have a galvanized version as well. Comes in a 350 kilogram, 500 kilogram, or 1100 pounds as far as tongue weight, and a 750. So you have a full range of different types of attachments for that. Now as far as tools that you'll need for this, you'll need WD-40 for the bearings and a rubber mallet or something that you can pop in those bearings. You could also use a vise if you needed to, and a universal wrench and an 18 and 19 millimeter socket. I found that one of these nuts is a little bit bigger than the other. So as far as that goes, it's a pretty simple install. You may end up needing a drill bit if you ended up doing some drilling. That's it. Let's get this thing taken apart and get it installed. The only assembly required out of the box is installing the bearings in the wheels and the wheels on the axle. Installing the bearings in the wheels is a pretty tight fit, so I applied some WD-40 to the ID of the wheel housing, positioned the bearing as flat as possible across the opening of the housing, placed on a piece of cardboard, and with a couple good whacks of the rubber mallet, they went right into place without any issues. Installing the wheels on the axle is a pretty straightforward process. When looking at the diagram, you can see that you can pull the bolt most of the way out, slide on the first washer in the first wheel, then slide on the next washer, the second wheel, and before passing it through the other side of the bracket, you can position that bolt slightly up enough to where you can slide on that last washer and then pass it through the other side of the bracket. You can fasten down that nut to where it's snug but not tight enough to keep the wheels from spinning. Now that our jack is fully assembled, before we can install it on the trailer, we want to make sure that we properly support the trailer. You can connect it to the hitch or use an existing jack for support and mount the ARK jack to the opposite side of the trailer frame. If you're using your vehicle's hitch for support, you can go ahead and remove the existing jack hardware. If you plan to install the jack over exposed frame using the clamp method, it couldn't be more simple. Basically, you remove the bolts out of the old stuff, you have the option of using your existing equipment, or you can utilize the C-channels provided in the kit, fasten everything back down, and you're pretty much done. Now, if you plan to attach your jack to a welded bracket like you see on my trailer, first you'll want to double check to see if the bolt patterns match. In our case, the vertical holes were a perfect match, but the horizontal holes were about half a bolt hole off. So we're going to go ahead and snug up the bolts that fit and use the bracket as a template to make new holes with the 1/2-inch drill bit to work with the M12 by 1.75 40 millimeter long bolts. Using WD-40 or tapping oil will make this process go a lot faster. As you can see, the improvised bolt holes using the bracket as a template worked out perfect. Looking at the back of the bracket, it only slightly elongated the original hole into more of a slot. This won't be an issue for clamping force or rigidity, as we have the other two bolts that are in a fixed hole, and with the use of washers, it'll displace all that tightening force and we won't have any issues. From here, the last step is installing the other two nuts, bolts, and washers, fastening everything down, making sure everything's at the German torque spec of good and tight, and you're pretty much done. All right, we're all bolted up, snugged up, and I can tell you just initial thoughts. The increased amount of rigidity that's coming from this over that floppy jack, it's already worth it in general. We're gonna see how it actually works out. But as you can see, we have it properly leveled up. We still got a little bit more to go, but we have 18 inches of travel in this jack. You can adjust it in the pins, and you can also adjust it by the actual jack height right there. For install time, it took me about 10 minutes, and that's including disassembly of the original jack, drilling out the hole and putting everything back together. Those of you who have an exposed frame, you'll just be able to clamp it on and go out, and you'll probably be able to do this in just a matter of minutes. But what we're gonna do is do a full 360. I was barely able to actually move it on concrete with the other jack, and if it ever got on grass or gravel, you could just, it was a boat anchor at that point. So we're gonna do a full 360, and I'm gonna try to pull it back in this. Don't know how it's going to handle on the grass, but we'll see. That is such an improvement. We're in the grass now. I actually didn't even feel it change a bit in effort. Let's try going back the other way. Let's try moving it in general. All right, well, this is a little over 1,000-pound trailer, but being able to do that, I wasn't able to do that with the previous jack, so. Oh yeah, super impressed with that. Wow. Now that we've seen the performance of the jack on the 360 test, including going over grass with little to no more effort required than to actually move it on concrete, we can go ahead and do the grand finale, which is trying to stab it in this garage. I was never able to actually do that before. The other jack was just too floppy, and by the time I actually got it going, the wheel would go wee-wah, and that was always an issue getting it over this ledge. I more or less just had to back it in with my truck. This could be a total lifesaver for a lot of things, including whenever it comes onto gravel. But let's see if we can get it in here. Wow, that is awesome. I was never able to do that before. The fact that I've been using this other floppy jack for almost 2 years and fighting it, that was totally worth it. This thing does run on the higher end between $250 and $300, but if you ever had a jack not work on you, as far as trying to move it up, edge it up to get it onto the ball or your hitch or anything like that, that's, I'm out of breath now, but that's worth its weight right there, literally. That's a 1,000-pound trailer, and I just pushed it in here without any issues. So impressed. All right, evaluation and final thoughts. Overall, this thing's awesome. Totally worth the investment. Better than fighting this thing for the past 2 years. It is a little bit of a price point at around $250 to $300, but once you understand that you don't have to fight things anymore, and you saw how easy it was to move in this garage and doing a 360, totally impressed with that. So we'll start from the ground up. Ball bearing, tandem axle setup, that's awesome. Once we move up here to this collar, we have a multi-position catch that allows you to land on this dowel pin. Basically, you just decrease the jack length until it lands on that dowel pin, and you can permanently affix it. That way it doesn't move back and forth whenever you have it up in position. Now, I haven't decided if I want to leave that affixed or if I want to leave it loose. If it's loose, as you're off-road, it'll be just dangling and banging and stuff like that. But if you were to hit anything, I doubt anything will actually hit up this high, but if you were, it might be the amount of movement that would go on the wayside rather than busting off the dowel pin. That thing's welded in there, and it doesn't look like it's going to be moving very much. So that's just something to be aware of. Now, moving up from there, we have 18 inches of increased height. We're perfectly level, and I have about 3 more inches that I can go up to where it's actually faced up. So that'd be good if we're in an off-camber situation where that's the only place where we can get the trailer jack or the trailer in the position, and I can level it out with the jacks in the back and this in the front. We have a little bit more versatility of movement. So I really like that. The other thing is how easy the lever is to actually release and slide this thing up. You can make this thing super short, and you don't have to worry about it being too long, but we'll probably just leave it at the length that I have with it just sucked up right there on the dowel pin. Now, the next thing I gave thought to I mentioned earlier that I probably lose this, or I'll probably have a friend that ends up just putting this in a special spot. But I really do like this. The idea that this is magnetic and you can attach it. Well, once this jack is up in position, this thing will actually be exposed and laying down right here, kind of dangling. So being able to remove that is really nice. Now what I'll probably do is I'll get a drill bit attachment or something to go in my drill and be able to fit that key and then be able to go up and down with ease, and then just have this in my box as a backup. That would just be a convenience move. Now, as far as that goes, everything went together. The structure, the rigidity is awesome. The paint coating on there, I've dragged it on the ground by accident and it more or less just moved the concrete out of the way. It's not scuffed or anything, so we're all good there. The one thing that I think can be improved on is this release handle for switching it up to 90 degrees. Now I did read that the 750 model, this thing is actually made of metal. This thing is made of plastic. I don't know if that's going to be an issue in the long run over a period of time. The bigger issue that I see of that is not necessarily for me, because I'll be folding it up this way and it'll be on top. But if you're mounting it on the other side, that handle will be exposed down, and if you were to contact anything like that, that could easily break this thing off. And if you're looking at it this way, it actually sticks out further from the jack. It's not hard to actually maneuver. It's really easy to disengage it. So I don't think it's going to break on movement, but it's just something that I think could obviously be upgraded to a metal piece. And I may actually do that on my own. It's a really easy attachment. I could probably just do that with some kind of tang. But overall, final fit and finish, this thing is awesome. Totally worth the investment. Did it out of my own pocket. This is not a promotional ad or provided to me or anything like that. This is just real talk here. So if you've been interested in something like this, it's worth the time. It's worth the money. Absolutely. Well, that about wraps things up, and in no time flat. And if you can't tell, I'm super excited about being able to actually use this thing both on and off-road, or more or less just putting it into the garage. If you enjoyed today's video, found it informative or helpful in making your decision to put an ARK XO Extreme Off-Road Trailer Jack on your utility, boat, off-road trailer, whatever trailer, go ahead, give us a big thumbs up, let us know how we're doing. Share if you'd like, I'd appreciate that. For a heads up on any future installs or adventures, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, notification bell. You can follow us along our journey. Don't forget to check the description below, as I'll have links to the ARK Trailer Jack website, Amazon affiliate links for these jacks. If you use the link, it'll help out the channel, and contact information should you have any questions at all. I'm always happy to help. Remember, we at Gator Overland encourage each and every one of you to take a daily moment to unplug and reconnect with the outdoors, even if it's just for a few minutes. Have fun, keep it safe, and just go. Thanks, y'all.